Hey guys, welcome back to From Home to Hustle. Again, I'm your host, Kelly Campbell. If you've been around, for any length of time, you know how passionate I am about homeschooling moms who are building businesses and building families at the same time and disciplining and all the things in between. Well, today's guest is no different. Nicole Barlow is a homeschool mom of six, an entrepreneur who understands the unique challenges of building a business while educating your kids at home. As a certified wellness coach and parent trainer, she helps women, especially foster and adoptive moms, prioritize their health, manage stress, and create rhythms that support both family and business life. With faith at the center of it all, Nicole is passionate about encouraging moms to thrive in the calling of both motherhood and entrepreneurship. Nicole, welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here because you and what you do is exactly what I want to talk about today. And that is how to balance building a business and homeschooling six kids. Okay. Well, okay. So first of all, I will say in the homeschool community, six is like, oh, well, okay, six. I have four. And
Sure.
so I'm like, well, six. But to some people, that might be like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, and a little transparency. All six of mine are not at home anymore. Mine are so I have two that are out of the house. My kids are starting to get older. I have two that are in college right now. And so really only homeschooling three full time during the day, which does make it a little more manageable. I remember though when everybody was at home and we were kind of juggling all the things.
Yes. Okay. So you started a certified wellness coaching program. Okay.
Yes.
So how long have you been doing that?
Yeah, for just a couple of years now, 2.5 years at this point. And I love it. I mean, it really is a passion of mine.
I love that. Okay. So walk us through that. Like, what exactly does that entail?
Yeah.
And what made you decide to go that profession, that route?
Yeah, so I'll start with the way that I came into it because I think it really tells the story of why I do what I do and how I do what I do. Um, I actually, as a homeschooling mom, so five of my six kids are adopted from foster care. And we got all five, their siblings, their biological siblings. And so we got all five at once. So I went from one to six overnight, which was super fun, but also a really big challenge. And one of the things that I found is I was really pouring everything that I had into them and neglecting myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so my health started to deteriorate. And one of the things, I mean, my physical health, like I gained like 50 pounds, my blood pressure was high, I was pre-diabetic, all the things, right? My mental health was struggling. And I was really just struggling in life because
Yeah.
my needs weren't being met. And so I found it really hard to parent my kids, especially homeschooling, because we're together 24/7. I found it really, really hard to show up for them
Mm-hmm.
every single day in the way that I needed to. They needed me to be calm and regulated and engaging and comforting and all the things. And I just didn't have it in me. And so I got to a point where I had to work on my physical health. Like things were really
I'm going to
bad.
stop right there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moms who can identify with what you're saying.
Oh, sure. I
Mhm.
mean, because I think it's very natural. And especially as Christian women, I
Yeah.
think we have this idea that pouring out into our kids means totally neglecting
Yeah.
ourselves, right?
Mhm.
And there is a compromise. I mean, yes, we do want to pour out on our kids, but part of pouring out on our kids means equipping ourselves for doing that. Um, so I started to work on my physical health just out of necessity. I didn't even realize how it would impact my parenting or mental health state, but I started working on my physical health just because I needed to. And when I did, everything changed.
Wow.
Like I was able to show up for my kids. I was able to be calm and present with them. I was able to be engaged. I had the energy that I needed. Everything in our home. I mean, as moms, we really set the temperature for our homes.
Mhm.
And the temperature in my home was so tense because I was so drained. And
Mhm.
so when I was able to show up more calm and regulated, it really changed the entire environment of my home. And so I really got into the business that I'm in, not because I wanted to be in that business,
Yeah.
but more so out of, oh my gosh, people need this. Like this is life changing, not just for the mom, but for families. Like
Yeah.
this is really life changing.
That seems to be the common theme of a lot of like homeschool moms that I've been talking to who actually are doing business is that they've found something that they needed,
Yeah.
that they were lacking,
Yeah.
or that they were working on themselves or for their family, and then turned it into a business. And that you're no exception. You did the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I almost think it's a must to
Mhm.
do it that way
Yeah.
because I think if we're just grasping at something to do or something to sell or something to
Yeah.
promote or something like that, we're not really going to have the passion or the drive to
Oh,
step away from our family to be able to do it.
well, oh, that is so true. I cannot tell you how many things that I started. Like I tried to sell certain things or do the tier thing. I realized that is just not for me. It is, some people are killing it, like
Yes.
doing the MLMs, the multi-level marketing and things like
Yeah.
that. I realized after doing like, I'm gonna say it, doing like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
realized that wasn't for me. For me,
Yes.
it was, well, I love to bake. That's what started it for me. I opened up my home, my kitchen to bake, you know, seasonal breads and things like that and just sell them. And that's what started helping me. And then I realized I was so passionate about baking that it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And so trying to sell, trying to climb that MLM ladder, it
Yeah.
wasn't working for me.
Yeah. And listen, there's some people through MLMs find a product,
Yeah,
right, that they love, and so it's very easy for them to share with other people.
right.
But it can't just be I don't think it can just be something that you
Yeah.
pick up in order to make money. I think it really has to be something that you love.
You're absolutely true. I mean, I will say that until the cows come home, that whatever you're passionate about, you can turn that into profits. You can
Yes.
turn your passion into your purpose that eventually turns into your profits. And so, like you said, you're no different. That's exactly what you did. You found out that you needed, that you were lacking, you fixed that, and then you're like, okay, there's a lot of moms, and it wasn't like what I'm hearing you say. It wasn't like okay, now how can I make money? It was like, but I want to help people. That's
Yes.
part of that
Yeah.
passion.
Yes. Yes. Well, and part of what I was seeing, so I have been training foster and adoptive parents for 9 years now. And I just do it 1 weekend a month. Most of the time, I've started doing some extra stuff now, but I used to do it just 1 weekend a month. But I was seeing all these parents that I was training in these strategies really were taking hold of the strategies. They desired to be good parents of their kids,
That's good.
but they couldn't implement it.
Hmm.
Like there was a block there that was preventing them from being able to implement those things. And I think that's true of all of us as moms. Like we know parenting strategies. We research, especially homeschool moms that are researchers that really are looking out to the best way to meet their kids' needs. But if your needs aren't being met, right, then it really becomes a barrier to you implementing that care for your kids in the way that it needs to be. And so,
That, yeah, go ahead.
and well, and I was just saying, like, people just don't know that that's the block.
Yeah.
And so like I just became super passionate about people need to know. Like they need to know this information. And I really felt like the Lord was saying, this is your place.
Mhm.
Like this is the space that you are supposed to speak into.
That's really good. In fact, you brought up something that made me think as a homeschool mom, we learn to study our children. We learn to figure out like what works for them as far as like curriculum choices, learning styles, things like that. Finding your niche is no different,
Yeah.
and that maybe goes back to like mental health, but like learning yourself and learning what you like and what you don't like.
Well, I think that even took me some time because when I first jumped into the health and wellness space, I was like, everybody needs this information,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of my warm market, a lot of my friends, family, people around me that kind of jumped in the beginning are not my ideal customer now,
Yeah.
right? But I kind of jumped in not really understanding who my niche was, not really understanding who I was speaking to. I was just like, everybody needs this.
Yeah.
But I think I've learned over time that I have to really tailor my voice
Yeah.
for people to be able to hear me. I can't speak to everybody because then nobody hears what I'm saying.
That's true.
I have to really figure out who my target market is and speak directly to them.
Yes, even though like for me, like in the baking, everybody eats, right?
Yeah.
And so you would think, oh, would everybody would want that? Well, honestly, in the homeschool community, they don't because they're already making it themselves.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants my sourdough cinnamon rolls because they're already making their own. And so
Sure.
I realized like, even though everybody eats, not everybody is my customer. And
Correct.
so, yeah, you do have to narrow it down for sure.
Well, and I have a couple of clients that are not my ideal customer, that it still, everything still works for them, right? The program still works. It works for everybody, but they're not the person that I'm speaking to on a regular basis.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So with that being said, like, okay, so how do you find time for work? How do you find time to coach and mentor and all that?
Yeah, so there I really break things up throughout the day. My homeschooling time is the time that is really blocked out for me. So I have a set amount of time, and it may take longer than what is set. And so I may have to like interweave some other things to it. But I have a couple of hours during our day where that is my teaching time. It's
Mhm.
where we all sit down together. The way that we homeschool is we all sit down together. All three of my little kids are kind of on the same level, which is great because that never happens. Um, but so we sit down and we do all of our lessons
I want to
together.
say that. I want to say something really quick. All right, homeschool mom is out there. Her three youngest are all on the same level, and she's not sweating it. Okay. She's not like, okay, the older one should be doing more than the younger. She's not sweating it. In fact, it works for her. So there's some grace there. So I just want to like debunk that. Oh, well, if I have these ages, they should be in this, and this category. Hey, I just want to like put that out there really quick. I caught that.
Yeah, like listen, we did that when they were younger and it was wearing me out. And I
Mhm.
was realizing that they're really all learning about the same thing.
Yes.
And so we know that my youngest may need a little extra support in some things because he's a little bit younger. We know my oldest is probably going to catch on a little bit faster, right? But doing everything together really helped them be able to have conversations about what they were learning, but it also helped me simplify things. And I mean, that's the best thing about homeschooling is you don't have to be on this specific timetable.
That is so good. That's so good. So
Yeah. So
what
we all
challenge
sit down together and do that for a set amount of time every day.
so
Sorry.
what for like just practical, what time is blocked out for school for you guys?
Yeah, usually 9:30 to 11:30 is kind of that school time. And
Yeah.
then my kids continue to do school after that. That's our together time. So we
Mhm.
sit down. My kids are a little bit older. So they're 11, 12, and 12 right now. And so they can do a lot of things very independently.
Yeah.
So we sit down and we do our lessons together. We go through all of our lessons and they kind of get their assignments for the day
Mhm. Mhm.
and then they go do their assignments on their own afterwards. So that 9:30 to 11:30 spot is when we are all together and it doesn't always sometimes we're done 30
Yeah.
minutes, an
Yeah.
hour with that group time. But I set aside that time for
Mhm.
us to do stuff together, and then they go complete their work on their
Yeah,
own.
I've been learning like with homeschooling and then doing business that like these times are non-negotiable times. So like my time that I'm homeschooling and everything, these are non-negotiable. This is my time. I'm actually the morning as well with my children. We try to be ready by 9 for school with all the chores and breakfast done. And then, of course it's a little different because I have high schoolers now. So they kind of go and take, do their
Yeah.
own, but with the younger ones, we try to, block out a couple of hours of just one-on-one with mom. And then we have lunch. And then the afternoons is whenever I do like any kind of work that I have, any meetings, any phone calls or whatever. And so, yes. So I think it's really important to prioritize what you're doing because if not, it just gets jumbled up.
Yeah, that's been super important for me is just kind of setting those priorities. Now,
Mhm.
I most of the time will get up super early
Yeah.
and I will work for about an hour
Mhm.
before anybody else gets up. And then I have about an hour where I do my like quiet time, my Bible time, all of that kind of stuff. And then, that's when my kids get up, they do breakfast and all of that, and we get started with
That's
schools.
same.
So I
That's
try
same.
to get a little bit in the beginning and a little
Yeah.
bit.
I love it. I try to get up about 5:30 every morning. Now I know
Yep.
that's not for everybody, so don't
Yep.
like nobody freak out on me. But I do like to get up at 5:30. And so I have literally from 5:30 to 8:30 where I can get a lot of my personal stuff done where it's either I'm, doing some work or answering emails, my quiet time with the Lord, my workout, anything like that is during that time. And I actually like that time because it helps set the trajectory of the day for
Yep.
me. I like that just quiet. And a lot of people like that at nighttime, like, oh, everybody's in bed, so this is my quiet time. I know friends like that. That's great. I'm not. I'm a
Yeah.
morning.
Me too. Me too. I have some quiet time at the end of the day where I may, read a book like a nonfiction Christian book or
Yeah,
something like that in the evening, but I am no good after dinner. Like
me too.
I that is like
Oh my gosh, my
I'm toast
kids are
after that.
like, they'll start seeing it on my face and they're like, Mom, you can tell it's after 8 o'clock by the way that you're acting.
Yes.
8 o'clock
Yes.
comes around and I'm just done for the day. And I think it's just because I start so early and then I'm spent by
Yeah.
8. But
Yeah.
yeah, even my friends are like, Kelly's gonna turn into a pumpkin. It's 8:30, guys. She's
I
gotta go
know.
home.
I have my bedtime alarm goes off at 8.
You have a bedtime alarm?
I do that says you need to start getting ready for bed. And there are times where like I'm out or whatever and my bedtime alarm will go off. I'm like, oops, gotta go.
I need to start doing that so that
It's
people were like, I could have a reputation.
it's awesome. It's awesome. I love it.
Gosh, I love that so much. I'm gonna have a bedtime alarm now. Oh my gosh, y'all just watch. Okay, so yeah, so having those non-negotiable times. Okay, so like when you were starting this, what challenges did you face? Like when you were starting the health coaching, did you have any like negativity pop up in your life, like, oh, you're doing that, or anything like that that you had to deal with?
Some.
Yeah.
I especially like I had some people that kind of went the space of you don't want that. Make sure that that doesn't become your voice. Like
Mm,
make sure that's, just kind of warning me that um they had seen people start business and business overcame their faith in the way that they were speaking, right? Like that they were always speaking business instead of really speaking Jesus.
mm,
And so, which a part of that was wisdom, but part of it, I think they were trying to deter me from
yeah,
stepping outside and doing something
yeah.
different. So I had to watch through that a little bit. But for the most part, everybody was super supportive because they had seen me go through. I mean,
Mhm.
when I started going through my health journey, they saw me change. Like my joy changed. Everything about me changed.
Yes.
And so they saw, and a part of what changed too was my spiritual health. Um, because when I was really struggling, it was hard to be in the word. It was hard to, you know, be in a good place
Right.
spiritually.
Right.
And so I think everybody saw what a big shift had happened in me, and so they understood why I was
Mhm.
doing what I was
That's really
doing.
good because like sometimes like as women we're afraid to like post. We're afraid to be
Yeah.
vulnerable in our posts. We're afraid to show people um our progress. We want to show them the highlight. We want to show them the end result, right? The medal. We don't want to show people the hard work it took to get there. But it was in that hard work that you were sharing and posting that people started to like emotionally attached to your story where
Yeah.
they're like and like oh yeah, like I believe in your program now. I believe in what you're doing because I've seen the nitty gritty, in the trenches with you. And so why don't you encourage like some of these moms to start just being vulnerable?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be because if people don't trust perfection anymore, because we know that that's not
Yeah.
real, right? And we have now been around the block, the social media block, enough to know that not everything on social media is real life. And so,
Hmm.
people, if you're not really letting people in to get to know you, to get to know your story, to get to know your ups and downs, then they're not really going to trust what you're saying. But I mean, it is hard. I went through a dip last year where we went through some big family transitions. We changed churches, and it had a big effect on all of our family. And I kind of let some of my self-care go. And I changed some of my habits. I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't working out. There was just a bunch of stuff that happened kind of all at once. And it has been really hard for me to be vulnerable enough to share that I took that dip,
Yeah.
right? In my own health journey. That has been really challenging. It has been necessary. But it is really hard to show people not your glamorous side,
Right.
kind of the
The
rough side.
highlight reel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All righty. So, how do you keep Jesus center of it all?
Yeah. It's about priorities.
Mm.
I have I have affirmations that I wrote out this year
Mm.
where I every morning, mostly every morning, I go through these affirmations just saying like, Jesus, you are good. You are for me. You are for my business. Help me to serve people because I really want you. I think we have to be careful as believers that want to serve and desire to serve people well, not to get in the marketing and business side of things and start selling people
Yeah.
versus serving them, and that can be a really hard thing. It can be a really hard line because in order to serve them, you do have to sell, right? Like you have to market to them so that they know that you have something that will help them.
Well, that's really
Um,
good because I was actually writing down how do you market and attract customers?
Yeah, it really is about serving them
Mhm.
and helping them understand that you're there to serve them.
That's
And I
good.
think a lot of times when we market, we have to actually serve in the way that we're marketing. We can't just promote all the time.
Yes.
We actually have to start serving from the very beginning. And a lot
Mhm.
of people I think are scared to give away too much because then they feel like people won't buy their product or
Right.
service or whatever they have. But people need to know that you're there to serve. We can't enter the marketplace just like everybody else. We have to come in differently.
That's really good. I was always afraid to post too much or share too much or give away too much because I was afraid that I was going to run out of like golden nuggets, like
Yeah,
information. And then I realized you really don't ever unless you stop learning, unless you
correct.
stop growing. So it was like, I do need to start sharing. Like, why am I holding back? Like, it's like, I know this is silly, but I was like holding back for something big, like I was holding
Yeah.
back for like a master class, or I was holding my information back for like a book or something like that. And then I was like, because I was so afraid that if I was going to give out that information, I would have nothing left.
Yep.
to put into the book, to put into the master class or whatever. And that's so silly because we are constantly having things to give. And I think too, by sharing and by being encouraging and sharing, like we were saying, our vulnerability and everything, that it's really allowing God to work in us.
Yep.
It's allowing people to see the struggles that we have and how we're allowing God to use those to build things, whether it's, family, whether it's business, whatever it is.
Yeah, I love that. And, to your point, I think a lot of times too, when we're marketing things, we can say the same things over and over and
Yeah,
over again because the same people aren't watching all of your messages,
it's
right?
true.
And so you can use the same material in more than one way, in more than
Exactly.
one place, right? You
Yep.
don't constantly have to be coming up with new things, but also we serve a very creative God
Mhm.
that can give you ideas every single day, right? And I think also coming to a place where we're prayerful about the people that do see our
Yeah,
messages, about the
that's good.
people that need our business, finding our business,
Mhm.
that God brings the right people in front of us at the right time to
Mhm.
for us to be able to serve them well and for us to be patient in that timing as well. Part of one of the things that I have been really I changed some of the things in my marketing in my niche and stuff last year. And my thing to God this year has been really about, Lord, prepare me for
Mhm.
what you have for me.
That's
Like,
good.
don't let me get caught up in getting to the end
Mhm.
quickly. Help me learn the things that I need to know in this process. Help me be a learner and help
Mhm.
me follow your timing and not jump ahead.
Oh, that's really good. Okay, so last question. What is some practical advice that you could give to help somebody start?
Do something that you're passionate about.
Mhm.
Find something that you're passionate about that God has really called you to. Don't just pick up a random thing. Like,
Mhm.
really find what you love. I mean, think about things that you love or you need, right? And figure out how you can offer that to the world.
That's good. That's great advice. All righty. Well, so how can people reach you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Foster Wellness Coach. Or I also have a podcast for foster and adoptive parents, if you were in that space at all. And it's called Foster Parent Well.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. All right, one last question.
Yep.
Is your house messy or clean right now?
Oh, the main parts are messy because I have a Bible study. I mean, the main parts are clean because I host a Bible study in my house on Wednesday mornings, but the bedrooms and all those exterior rooms are kind of all over the place.
I can identify with that for sure. That's so great. Well, Nicole, thank you so much. This has been wonderful. Great advice, very practical of how to get started, guys. Head on over to Nicole's social media, check her out. Or if you know somebody who's in that season or wanting to be in that season of fostering or adoption, you can go check out all her information. This has been wonderful advice on how to find your passion and find something that you've been working towards or what you find yourself in the mix of and like turn that into some kind of business, some kind of way of helping. Like she was saying that this being a servant and answering questions and answering people's needs is a great way to get your foot into the door of starting something. So, well, guys, I hope you've been blessed today. Remember to let your light shine before all men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Until next time, be blessed.